When it comes to mixing or finalizing an entire production, audio effects will come into play pretty heavily. We have a lot of options when it comes to audio effects in Ableton Live. You can see here there are different folders, and within each folder, we have a bunch of different audio effects. Now, I don't think I will be able to cover each and every audio effect in this one tutorial, but let's look at a few in context of this track. So I have soloed this vocal group over here. Let's have a listen to it.
I'm so lovesick. I'm so lovesick. I'm so lovesick.
Alright, so let's say I want to process this with some audio effects. The first thing I'm going to go to is an equalizer. So under EQ and filters, I load in this EQ8, which is an 8-band equalizer. We have 4 bands active right now, but there are 4 more bands that we can engage at the bottom over here. Now when I hit play, one excellent feature of EQ8 is that we have this spectrum analyzer built in, which you can turn off by clicking over here. I'll turn it back on. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do here is to switch this first band here into this high pass mode. So that'll get rid of all the low frequency content that we don't need in this female vocal part.
I'm so lovesick.
I'm also going to boost it a little bit over here to boost some of the fundamental frequency of the notes the singer is singing.
I'm so lovesick.
Alright, next, number 4 here, which is set to a high shelf, I'm going to boost this. So that'll add a lot more clarity in the sound.
I'm so lovesick. I'm so lovesick.
And then I'm going to cut some frequencies in the low-mid area over here. I'm also going to make it a bit more narrow by increasing this Q.
I'm so lovesick. I'm so lovesick. I'm so lovesick.
Alright, so that's some basic EQing. Next, let's reduce the overall dynamic range of this vocal part by making use of a compressor. In the dynamics category, we have a compressor. I'll load the default setting in here. Alright, so what a compressor does is it reduces the overall dynamic range based on peak values that are detected. So I'll bring this threshold down, and you can see the audio coming in the background there. So the lower the threshold is, the more the signal gets compressed. The amount of compression is defined by a ratio here. Let's say this is a 2:1, so it's a bit more subtle. I'll also turn on makeup gain, so that'll compensate for any gain loss that we've introduced because of reducing these peaks.
Airborne through the night, through the sky, your lips touches mine.
Alright, next I'm going to add some saturation. So under drive and color, I'm going to load the saturator device. Now I'm not really looking to distort the signal. I just want to fatten up the overall sound, give it a bit of an analog flavor.
I'm so lovesick. I'm so lovesick. I'm so lovesick. I'm so lovesick. I'm so lovesick.
Yeah, it's a very subtle amount, and that should be enough to just color this overall sound just a little bit. Alright, now one final effect I'm going to add over here is a reverb. So let's go into the reverb and resonance. We have the new hybrid reverb. Let's load that in. And this time I'm going to choose a preset. So let's hit that hot swap button. And now let's look for a preset that would work good for this vocal part. Let's go under space. And let's choose this large dark space. I'm going to bring the dry wet down.
I'm so lovesick. I'm so lovesick. I'm so lovesick. I'm so lovesick. I'm so lovesick.
Pretty good. Let's try something else. How about this large octave shimmer?
I'm so lovesick.
So the pitch here is set to -12. Let's move this up to +12 and let's hear what that sounds like.
I'm so lovesick. I'm so lovesick. I'm so lovesick. I'm so lovesick.
You notice that this hybrid reverb also has an EQ built in. I'm gonna bring out those high frequencies, a little bit of these mids, switch this to a filter, get rid of all those lows.
Airborne through the night, through the sky, your lips touches mine.
Alright, so let's say I'm happy with this. I'm gonna cancel out of the hot swap mode. And now we have 4 effects here that are all affecting this vocal group. Now if I really like this, I can combine all of them into one audio effect rack. So select all of them, right click and group. I'm going to save this. Alright, so that's a quick look at how to use some of the audio effects in Ableton Live.